A Flourish writer believes in the power of her story, the gospel made alive as a declaration to this generation. She cultivates the courage to dream, write, and publish the story inside her. Welcome to Flourish Writers.
Well, hello, Flourish Writers, and welcome to our session on micro-writing. I am so excited to be here with you today. For those of you who may not know me, my name is Arabah Joy, and I blog at arabahjoy.com. I self-published my very first book back in 2012, and then went on to publish several books since then, as well as many other various spiritual growth resources. I'm really excited to talk with you today about micro-writing, and what we will cover is what it is, why I think you should do it, and how it has helped me. Plus, we'll talk about how you can get started on it today. But first, I'd just like to commend you for being here. Flourish Writers is an amazing community of people who share the same goal, and that is to ultimately write for the glory of the Lord. I also think that we probably have a lot in common. Your desires and your motivations for writing are probably similar to mine. I imagine you want to honor the Lord with your writing. And perhaps you desire to make an impact with the words that you say. Or perhaps you want to recount the Lord's faithfulness in your life and leave that as a legacy for others. Or maybe you want to discover more about yourself and dig deeper into your own past. Some of you may desire to experience healing and a deeper connection with God through writing. Or perhaps you're just looking for a creative outlet and a way to express your heartfelt worship to the Lord. Well, I'm here to say that writing can do all of those things and so much more. And I'm excited to share with you how micro-writing specifically can help with those goals. Let me begin by sharing just a little bit about my own writing journey. It was in the 6th grade that I wrote my very first short story. Now, honestly, I cannot remember what it was about the 6th grade that turned me into one of those writer kids. I don't remember if it was a teacher who gave an assignment, or maybe I was inspired by a really, really good book, or perhaps, and more likely, my parents threatened me to find something productive to do with my time on the weekend. I really don't recall how it happened, but I do still remember the story that I wrote and how it made me feel. I remember that after writing that story, it felt like something had awakened within me. I finally found expression for things I'd never been able to put into words before. All the thoughts and feelings and emotions that were bouncing around inside my little 6th grade self found expression through the act of writing and storytelling. Whatever was unleashed in me that day, I knew it could never be stuffed back down inside me again. So, ever since that very first story in the 6th grade, I've wanted to be a writer, and I've actually written pretty regularly since that time. But here's the thing. For many years, I thought that in order to be a writer, I had to produce one of those little things called a book. I thought a writer was someone who wrote books, who then went on to publish those books by a traditional publisher who gave their stamp of approval on the writer's work. And then the publisher placed the book on bookshelves in places like Barnes and Noble, where people could find them and, of course, buy them. And all of this validated that, yes, the author really was a writer. But somewhere along the way, probably in the process of trying to become one of those so-called Real Writers, I discovered a secret. A writer isn't just someone who writes, publishes, and sells books. A writer is someone who writes. Yep, it really is that simple. A writer is someone who writes, just like a ditch digger is someone who digs ditches. Writers aren't just those people who have published a book, or just those people who intend to publish a book. Writers are those people who actually write. Having this basic shift in my understanding of what a writer is has given me the freedom to write in many different forms and differing lengths. Because here's the thing, not everything that needs to be written down needs to be put in book form, right? Some things can be said in a tweet, and hey, just ask Donald Trump about that, right? I'm not making a political statement. I'm simply saying we all know and have seen the power of a tweet. And as followers of Jesus Christ, out to make an eternal impact and difference in our world, we can and should use it. So, some of the things that need to be said or written can best be put into a blog post or an article, a letter, a handwritten card, or even a text. Those forms of writing are totally valid and can be just as effective, sometimes more so than a book. Most of my writing now is done in the form of blog posts and emails. And I have discovered these forms of writings are highly effective. They have given me far more traction and have allowed me far more impact into people's lives than the 3 books I've self-published. So, for today, I want to share with you some of the ways micro-writing can be used and why I think you should start a micro-writing habit, even as soon as today. Of course, micro means small. So micro-writing refers to short or small writing. In education, it generally refers to writing that takes less than 5 minutes. However, for our purposes, I'm taking it to mean any small chunk of writing, whether that's a paragraph, a tweet, a blog post, an article, an update on social media, a letter, or a journal entry. For ease, let's just say that it's anything you write in one sitting. So let's talk about some of the top reasons why you should start a micro writing habit. The very first reason will not be any surprise. It's because people's attention spans are super short. There are people who graduate from high school and even college who vow they are never going to pick up another book in their lives. And statistics show they keep their vow. But these same people will scroll Facebook and Instagram. They'll read what they see there. They'll read what comes to their inbox, and they'll check their phone and read text or whatever mail comes to their mailbox. They'll give it a scan. Because our attention spans are so short, we can actually reach a much broader audience when we write short. And that to me is a really great reason for micro writing. The second reason for micro writing I would like to share with you is that it's a super simple way to start a writing habit. I don't know if you have ever set a goal in your life to start a writing habit. Maybe you wanted to write a book, and maybe you said, I'm going to write a chapter of my book every week. Or maybe you've said, I'm going to write an hour a day. Well, a lot of the times, especially if you're just starting out in your writing journey, these may sound like really great goals, but they may not be realistic. And unfortunately, unrealistic just doesn't happen. However, if you have a goal of establishing a writing habit, and then you actually follow up on that habit by writing just a few minutes every day, then you can scale that. Even writing a short word count every day can help it become a way of life for you. It does indeed become a habit. That's completely doable and realistic. In her book, The Right to Write, Julia Cameron says, making writing a big deal tends to make writing difficult. Keeping writing casual tends to make it possible. And because of this, I think micro writing is the best way to start a writing habit. The third reason why I think you should start micro writing is because it's a great way to actually write that book. Yes, it is. You can take all of those small micro writing articles that you have done and those exercises, and you can compile them into a book after they are finished. This is actually the way I wrote my 40-day devotional, Trust Without Borders. I had written for a few years on my blog. These are just simple one-off pieces talking about how God was building trust in my own heart. Well, I had a reader email in to me and ask if I would compile some of my writings into a book. At first, I was like, absolutely no way. That's a ton of work. But then I reconsidered. And while it was a lot of work to compile it all together, it wasn't nearly as much work as starting from scratch would be. In fact, I don't think the book would ever have come about if I hadn't have had all the content already written in those smaller pieces. But I'm so glad I did, because that book has blessed hundreds and even thousands of people who have read it. In fact, I still get emails from people on a regular basis telling me how it has blessed their lives, and it's nearly 5 years old. I'm so thankful micro writing helped me do that. The fourth reason why I think you should micro write is because it's so versatile. You can use micro writing just about anywhere. Of course, you can use it on any of the social media platforms such as Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, etc. Apps such as Messenger, in text, push notifications, just about anywhere. As you can imagine, it's super useful in our tech-driven world. The fifth reason why micro writing is a great idea is due to the fact that by 2021, in just 2 years from now, Google estimates that 85% of all online content is going to be video. Video! People aren't even going to read what we're writing. So why am I telling you to micro write? Well, because it's super easy to take micro writing and turn it into video content. It's not so easy to video record a book, but it's easy to take, for example, 5 reasons why you should micro write and turn it into a video like this one. So I hope that totally convinces you to micro write. Now I have a bonus reason for you. This 6th reason was one I just couldn't leave out. Recent studies show that 15 to 20 minutes of creative writing a day is proven to improve your mood. So not only does it help our brain process information, creative writing literally makes us feel better. And that's a great reason. So how do you get started? Let's talk briefly about how you can get going with a micro writing habit today. Grab your pen and paper because we're going to go through these quickly. Number 1, schedule a time. Make space in your day for doing this and write it in your daily schedule. Making a commitment to write daily is making a commitment to invest in yourself. So do it. Number 2, pick a place. Having a regular go-to place, a spot for writing, can trigger your creativity. Over time, you'll come to treasure your spot. And yes, it's okay to have more than one if you need it. Number 3, set a timer. This will help you focus and keep you on track. Plus, you won't feel like writing is taking over your entire life if you're just setting that timer for 15 minutes at a time. Number 4, don't edit as you write. Worrying about grammar, spelling, or getting things just so kills the creative process. Do yourself a favor and refrain from editing while you are micro writing. That can always come later. And number 5, and my favorite, use writing prompts. The hardest part of writing sometimes is just getting started. So it greatly helps to know what you're going to write about before you actually sit down to do it. Go ahead and keep a list of ideas you'd like to write on handy, or have a ready-made list of prompts handy to get you started when it's time to sit down and write. On that note, I have a freebie for you. My 30 creative writing prompts will help you get started with your micro writing habit. To download your freebie with the prompts and a journal to go along with it, you can visit me on my blog at arabahjoy.com/write. That's arabahjoy.com/write. I hope this workshop has inspired you to start your own micro writing habit, and I'd love to hear how it goes. So be sure to drop me an email or tag me on social media as you do your micro writing. I will see you soon.